Hey, hey, everybody, it's lying and telling me I'm live. Let me know that it is, in fact, not a liar by letting me know that
you're like glitching. Reload it real quick. I can't hear
you. Hello, are we live? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, it stopped working because that was fun. So.
Okay. Are we live? I think we're live. We're finally live on my phone, so. See, it was a filthy liar. What's going on, everybody?
Hi.
I'm gonna wait just a little to make sure I get at least one person who says, yes, you are live. You're not speaking into the void. Excuse me.
Tell the void I say hi.
Woohoo! In the void, in the void. I'm also going to retweet saying that we are now live.
Oh. People are saying we are live.
Awesome! Woohoo!
Progress!
All right, so we will give people a little bit to come in here. How's everybody doing? We're doing another Let's Talk today. Fox did some things I have to pin to look at later.
Oh, more people. We are good.
Oh, excuse me. My throat is a little dry suddenly for some reason. All right. So for everybody who is here, I'm Samantha L. Nasset, writing mom. On my channel, I talk about writing, parenting, and writing. Well, parenting. And this is my co-host for today. Go ahead and introduce yourself and your channel.
I'm CB Ferrenz. I'm a teenage young adult fantasy author. I know my audience because I am my audience. Came up with that like a few days ago. On my channel, I do talking about my writing process. I'm going to release a play I wrote and then I directed and my school performed like tomorrow. And yeah, I talk about my journey as being a teen and an author.
All right. I'm typing a thing. Okay. The topic that we're going to be discussing tonight, everybody, is the pitfalls of self-publishing, because both CB and I have published debut novels that we did not feel were debut novel. Sorry, I got a distracted. That were not debut novel worthy. I'm usually on the other side, so she's very confused. We're going to give it a few more minutes before we dive into our talking points. So the Gay Raven says, patiently waiting. We appreciate your patience. What's going on? I just summarized what's going on. Hello. I had cake and now I'm nauseous, which is a little maddening because I hate when that happens.
I don't really like cake.
I just meant eating in general. Sorry, I'm adjusting my camera, everyone. Like when you're eating something really good and then like you can't eat any more of it because you don't feel good anymore.
Or you eat like and then you stop for a while because you can't anymore, like without feeling sick, and then you can go back to it.
That's self-control is what I need to learn when it comes to food. Thank you, Sarah. Hey, Carrie. I'm doing good. My brain's a little frazzled because a lot of stuff's going on, but what else is new? Yeah, oh, awesome. She's in the trap. I think I saw your message when I like first woke up and then forgot to respond to it. So I'm sorry, I'll respond to that later. Citizen of the Capitol.
What?
I think he's calling himself a glutton. At least that's how I took it.
Okay.
Hunger Games is a distant memory.
I think I watched and read the first book, and that was it.
I've never I've never read them, but I watched the films. Actually, funny story about that. I went to see the first movie of The Hunger Games and there was another vampire movie. I went to see them with my sister and my dad because my dad heard that Vampire Academy, that's what it was. My dad heard that the romance in them was going to be really good. And then we were watching The Hunger Games, and at least the first movie, it's not really about the romance at all. It's a dystopian. And he was so upset and disappointed. He was like, there was no romance in that.
I love that.
I was like, I'm so sorry, Dad. But yeah, it was great.
Great disappointment.
Doing okay. Cake cone. Why does everybody have cake today?
Yeah,
Now I
don't think it's a holiday. I don't really have memorized holidays memorized.
Oh, yes, Audra, thank you. I would absolutely never remember ever to say it. So go ahead and like this stream if you want to show some support. I can speak, I promise. I'm drinking a very purple cocktail, so I'm living. Ah, yeah. Nice. Hello, Leanne. Oh, Leanne hosts some Flash Fiction Friday things on her Instagram. I highly recommend checking them out. The Flash Fiction last week was cute. I don't like cake. It wouldn't have lasted long in the French. Not a lot of people lasted long in the French Revolution there.
No, I have horrible decision-making skills. I would not last long in any sort of revolution.
That's fair. You be like what you want to like. My brother doesn't like chocolate.
That's not okay. I can like some cakes, but I've had too many like really bad chemical cakes. I need to like take a break from cake because like birthday parties there.
They're so much better homemade. Hey Jenna, hey, look what I found. I like wore it and then it got washed and I couldn't find it and I found it yesterday and I'm so excited. I need to get the Savior's Champion one. It's so soft.
Of the tank tops.
Your dad is so. I wouldn't call my dad wholesome by any stretch of the imagination. This is the same man who told me that when you get nipple piercings, if you pierce one nipple, you're a hoe. If you pierce two nipples, you're classy. And he only has one pierced, and that tells you everything you need to know about my dad. He's a super romantic. He loves romance, and like it's kind of funny. Of my parents, I'm far more like my mother. We're not very romantic. We're extremely pragmatic and everything. And so to balance that, we married extremely romantic men. So it works out, but yes, that is. I actually have a thing against nipples now because most of my adolescence I was eye level with his piercing. So I was always like afraid that my eye would get poked out. So just airing my trauma on stream, it's fine. Yes, I was called myself. Aha! See, I got that reference. Woo, oh yes, break a leg with your filming, girl. Hey Ray. Hey Sam, did you see the picture of the Chernobyl disaster travesty the outside of my cake became? I know. Also, not sure how I feel about that description for a cake, though. I'm here on time for welcome, Ken.
Being on time. Every time someone mentions being on time, I have the Sound of Music line about Maria being always late for everything except for every meal, because my parents used to sing that when I'd be late for everything when I was little, and now.
See, I tell the story often. Thankfully, my dad is also not a shy person. I get that from him. So if he ever found out I told this to all the people on the internet, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm a lot like my dad. I described him once as he's me except bald, a dude, and with a belly. And a beard.
See, it is that you should add it. I don't actually know if it's true. That's just what he told me most of my life when I asked him, why did you only pierce one? that's what he would tell me.
That was his explanation for only getting one. Ugh, that makes it better.
Like I said, this is according to my father. I don't actually know how true it is, but I'm holding it. Hello and welcome.
Hi.
All right. We're about 10 minutes into the stream, and I think we've got a good bit of the crowd. So,
Yes.
sorry, I saw a thing out the corner of my eye.
Hmm.
So, do you want to start? Do you want me to start? I can go ahead and start.
You can start.
Okay. I have spoken about this in several videos, and I still plan to make a video detailing my journey, essentially. But I self-published a novel about 9 years ago called Journey of the Wolf. The first one was Nightfall, and the second one was Paid in Silver. I did actually publish 2. But when I published it, I did a lot of my research. However, I was much younger, much dumber, and much more full of myself. So I did not hire a self-published author. Yes, I didn't hire a self-published author. I didn't hire a professional editor. And while my husband is an English major, I didn't even bother listening to him then. I actually argued with him a lot on style versus the laws of grammar. Once again, I was dumb. So I also rushed it because I was pregnant at the time and I wanted to prove something to myself. I was like, if I cannot self-publish a novel before he even gets here, I have very little hope of being able to do it once I have kids, because I'm from a big family. I'm the oldest. I know how hard having kids is. So I knew how hard that was going to be while juggling writing. And so I rush published it. And I took it down because I knew it wasn't good for when I wrote it, too. So, like my quality for that novel versus my quality for my short stories and everything that I was writing at the time, they didn't even add up. So I couldn't even look back and be like, oh yes, that's the best that 20-year-old Sam could do. No, that wasn't
that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was not the best that 20-year-old Sam could do. So I do want to give myself a little bit of a break, because resources for self-publishing 8 years ago were like almost non-existent. It was really hard to find anything. And they're not like necessarily the easiest thing in the world to find now, but it is a lot easier to find them now. So that's kind of how I down spiraled. Now, if you try to Google my debut novels, good luck.
I know. Investigation. Gotta find, like, the Pink Panther theme starts playing.
CB's like, well, Sam keeps talking. I also published them under my married name, not my maiden name, so that'll make it even harder to find. I'm going to take some comments with mine, and then I'll go ahead and let you do your thing. Thank you. Yes. Yes, 8 years ago, Shanna's like, haha, yeah, fuck y'all. Or fuck the lack of resources. People will ask me why I didn't do ABC or XYZ for my debut, and I'm like, it really didn't. Like, there was no Ingram Spark. The best that there was KDP. Had Create Space, which, God, it's been so long. I don't even remember what options they gave and what they didn't. It's just, I just Googled, yeah, did you find it? That's what I need to know. I feel called out. I have a picture of me holding it on my Facebook, but that's about it. All right, so you can go ahead and give yours over there.
So I first published 2 years ago in April 2018. So yeah, it's been just over 2 years. And that means I was 15 I'm 17 now, and unlike Sam, I did not do my research because I didn't know anything because I was 14, 15, whatever. So my birthday's in January, so it was like kind of right after I turned 15. I'm getting my numbers mixed up. Anyways, my only knowledge about the publishing industry at all was from a author that is the mother of a kid in my little brother's scout troop, if you can follow me. So as I was writing, it's Shadows of the Willow Tree. As I was writing Shadows, my dad kept insisting I have a meeting with her. And she writes like romance novels, so I can't read her stuff because I'm a child.
I definitely never read romance novels.
But they're like, they're erotica. So I just don't. Nope. Yeah. Anyway, I glitched. I didn't know anything about her writing, and I knew that he presented to me like, oh, she does writing on the side, so I didn't take it seriously. Turns out I ended up emailing her. She's like, oh, I'm in Oxford for a book signing. So for me, that was like, oh my gosh. So I met with her. She basically told me everything I knew at the time, which is there's self-publishing and traditional publishing. And then she had an awful experience with traditional publishing. So I chose self-publishing. And she sent my book out to her betas. I got the great job responses. And that was basically all the preparation I did to release my book. I think I showed it to my social studies teacher in 7th grade, but that was it. Yeah, it went badly. It was not good. At the time, I do admit, it was the best I could do at the time. But I did also rush the release because I wanted to beat Christopher Poloni, the author of Aragon, because he has a Guinness World Record, which I mentioned in a video, for like self-publishing at 15. Then he traditionally published at 18. Became the youngest ever New York Times bestselling of a fantasy author or fantasy novel at 19. At least he was back then. I'm not sure if he still is now. So I was like kind of obsessed with beating him.
I relate on a little bit of a level. I always liked writing and telling stories, and then I read In the Forest of the Night by Amelia Atwater Rhodes, and I read the about the author in the back, and she was traditionally published at 13, and I was about 11 or 12 when I read that, so I was like, I can do that.
So I started writing at 12, and from like then on, like people would be like, well, you know, this random author from this book we have in our library wrote their book when they were this age. That was usually like within a few months of mine. And I'd be like, must beat them. But
you got competitive. I got inspired. I was like, I can do this.
Real competitive.
This can be my life thing. For me, I was just like, wait, so I don't have to go to college to do this? Okay. Like, I'm on board now. Which,
and then right in the middle of writing the book and during the release, depression went big because puberty, hormones, chemicals, mind. So I had to struggle with that throughout writing the book, which made the book really angsty too. Because at the time, I wrote the main character, Willow, as what I thought a put-together person looks like. And so recently I went back and read it and went, oh my God, she's so messed up. But back then I was like, yes, this is what quality of life looks like. So.
It's always fun to go back and learn things about ourselves. All right, let's look at some comments real quick. Yes, I said KDP used to have Crazy, or I meant to. Who knows if I actually did? I sure the fuck don't. That was me in 2016. Little to no research, no editor, DIY cover via CreateSpace. It was bad, but I love the story, so I'm redoing it to publish properly.
The one thing I did right was I got a professional cover designer, and I still love that cover. It's gonna stay being my cover. It's really pretty. That is the one thing I did right, where I like paid the money and like I did it properly. So
I paid for cover art.
did you not
It's
use it?
not. No, I used it. It's just when I look at it now versus then, no shade on the artist or anything. They did a good job, but it's just not professional cover art.
Yeah, the one thing about my cover art where it goes from green to gray, which because it's print on demand, every time I print it, the seam's at a different place, so that makes it look kind of crappy.
Yeah.
So I'm redoing that for the re-release.
Well, that's
paying
good.
for like one. So
making improvements.
Yes.
Audra, it's a learn as we go. I was about to say I started reading romance my senior year, but not erotica. I just read it all. I wrote erotica when I was in high school because I'm demisexual.
Mm-hmm.
So like in high school I just thought I was broken because in the 90s, early 2000s, these terms did not exist in my area. Yeah. So I wrote a lot of romance with erotica, or just like erotica, as a way to self-explore, like try to figure out what was appealing about it.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of research. But yeah, I probably started that when I was 14. These are reasonable goals to set oneself. Oh my gosh, my writing was garbage as a teenager. I had a blast. That's what we do. Sounds legit, Sam. S.E. Hinton published The Outsiders at 18. I love The Outsiders. That book is full.
I haven't read it.
Oh, I recommend it. The Outsiders is good. It's about hold on, my brain is rebooting. It's about like a bunch of street kids, and I think there's gangs involved, and one of my favorite characters died because story of my life.
Yeah, yep, that's a mood.
But yeah, I will say some of the things that I think I did right with publishing my debut novel is that I did have a critique partner. I had beta readers. I did seek out people to review it. I only remember one review to this day. It was a 2 or 3 star review. And she said that that the story, the characters, and the dialogue were strong, but that she really hoped I hired an editor in my future installments.
Oh.
And I was like, okay. And then looking back, I'm like, that's fair. That's very fair.
So, I didn't do like any of the editor or anything. I had a few people look at it. But other than that, like, not really. And I didn't really open my book for like a year and a half because every time I opened it, I would see a mistake. And I also would like covertly fix mistakes and just republish it without mentioning anything for a while.
That typo doesn't exist. I don't know. It's not in my version. Must have been a misprint.
So I have about 15 copies of like this one where it's I don't want to talk about it. And then I had like people will have different copies of different things.
Oh no.
Okay, so I only ever sold, including ebook and paperback, 81 copies of Shadows. So I don't feel that bad, but it's the point where I like kind of feel bad about taking people's money for what I gave them. It's cool.
Shady.
I know, it's so bad.
So I actually sold enough copies of both books to, buy us dinner a few times, which is part of why while it was a flop, I knew there were some things that I did right. But yeah, overall, it's just like gone. There's no way to buy any more copies. And I have a copy, and then some of my family sells copies, and a lot of people in England. I don't know what it was about England. They really liked the book. But the other, like, just a month, not a month, like in January, I think, in January. Sorry, for me, there's like Corona is
Mhm.
one big month. So it's
Yeah.
like anything that happened pre-Corona is a month ago. And I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
no, that's not how time works. But yeah, like back in January or something, I was at my aunt's house for a birthday party or whatever. And we're just sitting there, and this friend of my aunt's has my books on her thigh. And I'm like, why are those here? And my aunt's like, oh, because I told her about your books and like she's gonna borrow them. And I'm like, why are you still telling people about those books? And she's like, because you published them and you're my niece, and so I'm proud of it. And I'm like, do you not understand the quality of these books? I don't need that to be what people read and then go, this is how well Sam writes. That's why I have the flash fiction and stuff on my website, so they can go read that. But I mean, it's really sweet and it's fine. It's a family friend. So, but I'm just like, I did not expect to see these out in the wild anymore.
I haven't like come across my book in the wild, but I am still worried about like family members who are very supportive, being supportive of my old drafts, I guess would be at this point. Because they're like their encouragement, like, you're a great writer. I'm sitting there like,
You're afraid of my ants.
we both know that's not true.
We both know that is not true of that particular manuscript. Thank you.
Yeah, like right now I'm working on. I did the professional edit. I went through it myself, did the professional edit, and then I kind of assumed it would be good. And then I opened it up again and saw a flaw. It's like I literally opened up to check a name, and it was just right there. And I like went, wait, what? And I like looked up the page, and I saw another one. And then I was like, no. And I turned the page, and there was another one. And I was like, I just went through all of this.
That's when you grab the red pen and you go through.
Oh, yes, that is exactly what I did. I like talked to my parents and was like, I need to fix this big time. So I went through Shadows again and went red pen crazy. But I like kept the story itself mostly the same because I was just like fixing weird descriptions and stuff like that. And I finished it and I typed those up. And then I talked, this is like literally, I'm catching up to like the last month.
Hold on. I want to like catch up on some comments and then discuss what we plan to do or what we are doing to fix those. So
yes,
keep those thoughts.
Transition.
Okay. I wrote a few chapters of a fantasy story I came up with and found the memory stick, which contained it a while ago. I have a bag of just old stories and stuff from high school in my closet, and sometimes I just go through and I reread them and I'm like, I could use that. So
I have a binder of fan fictions. I have a binder of fan fictions. And then I have like the shelf, all those journals are filled with just like random stories and stuff, mostly fan fictions.
So I have like two trains of thought with it. It's like, one, sometimes even if your old writing is shit, the idea was solid. You just weren't good enough yet to bring it to life. And then other times, you have to accept that perhaps the younger you didn't always produce a golden egg. I'm just saying.
See, I have a few of the stories, mostly the fan fictions, where I'll be like flipping through it, reading, and I'll be like, I'm enjoying this. And then I get to the end and I'm like, I didn't finish it. I just stopped in the middle of the story, and I would be very disappointed in myself.
Oh, I hate when I do that too. Past Sam is such a bitch. I hate her. BRB, baby cry. Oh yes, tend the baby. Looks at my teenage writing where the MC describes their appearance and just has a regular day for chapter. That's like literally my favorite thing to write too, and I'm so sad that it's such bad things.
I started out with Tolkien-esque descriptions of
oh, purple prose. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the original first paragraph of my novel memorized because my friend memorized it. And then for our entire friendship, when I would talk about like revising, she would start reciting the opening paragraph. It is so bad.
I'm not sure if that's like high quality level friend or how the fuck dare you level friend or both. I think it's both. Gotta start. Yep. See, everybody's gotta start somewhere. We just don't necessarily have to always publish our start. Finding a typo is the worst. Oh, yeah. It's just, especially like in a thing you've read a bagillion times. Oh, so I'm dyslexic. And sometimes because of dyslexia, I cannot physically register a typo until somebody's like, Sam, this word is spelt this way. And then it's just like this veil appears over and I see the typo and I'm like, how the fuck did is the most frustrating thing. Like literally Fox will be like, oh, there's a typo in the third paragraph. And I'm like, where? He's like, this sentence. And I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? It's weird magic, and I don't appreciate. Have good or break a leg while filming. Thank you, we shall.
Jenna's channel is actually the one that alerted to me any mistakes because I was going along very confident, like, I published a novel.
Ego.
And then I came across her videos on YouTube, and she started like mistakes, like listing things are like, oh, you should definitely hire a professional editor. And like I just start like it's the in like cartoons when the person has like the little thing of sweat. It was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, when I started 3 years ago, started looking back into it, I'm like, okay, it's been 5 years. I know because I've been following publishing since I was 13 that publishing changes every so often, and I need to do research to keep up with like what the current things, and hopefully there's more resources. And then I found Jenna's channel, and I was like, I love everything about this, and there's marketing advice. I was like,
yes. It's like I don't know what to do. Types in my question, then follows it with Jenna Morassi. There we go.
Yeah, I always type in Jenna Morassi. Yes,
found it. It's like a treasure hunt where you always know where the treasure is.
Yes. I'm so happy we exist in a space where information about writing and the publishing process is readily. Yeah, it's so nice now, isn't it? Many people wishing Jenna good luck. The first book I published died with Create Space.
When did Create Space go away? Like how long ago?
It went away before I started looking, either before or the year I started looking back into. So 2014 or 15. Hold up, we're going to Google. When did Create Space die? In 2018, there were signs that Create Space might be put aside entirely. So I'd say around 2018.
We're a little off.
Yeah. My life is a little off. I have a short story published in my college's creative arts journal, and I want to scrub it from the internet. Oh no, Matt. As writers, we're always going to be our own worst critics. This I actually don't entirely believe, because I know for a fact I was not my worst critic when I was 20, and I should have been. But like, I'm also a Virgo with very high standards for myself, so it's like two sides of a coin here. I'm all like, oh my god, I should be able to do this better. I know how to do this better. But also, I go back and I reread my like writing, and I laugh. Like when I'm editing videos, I will record a little bit of it and send it to like Stieg or Jenna or somebody and be like, I'm funny. Look at this.
Oh my god. My dad walked in and me giggling at one of my own jokes. And he's like, you making yourself crack up? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm hilarious. I was like, I love to go reread my short stories. It's one of the reasons I love short stories and I love flash fiction. And I heavily encourage people to do it because there's so many benefits. I actually just did a video on short stories part of the reason it's on my mind. But like, I'll go back and I'll reread them and I'll just be laughing. And Chris is like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "This is hilarious." I mean, I should rewrite the whole thing because it's written pretty, but it's still funny. Like, I love these characters. And then I will like send it to like 4 or 5 friends and just be like, "Do you remember this story? These characters? Oh my God, they're great. Do you feel this angst?"
See, I don't write many short stories or like finished short stories. I think the only finished short story I've ever like written that is slightly presentable, or I assume it's presentable, is I wrote it like for fun. Like, I put my friends in a fun situation. It was a ghost story, and I wrote it for them. I was in it too. Then I had an assignment in English class where we were supposed to write a short story. This was in 8th grade, and you're supposed to outline it and everything, and I didn't finish the story I was writing for the teacher in time it was due. So I went up to the teacher and I was like, "Hey, can I just turn in this other story I wrote?" And she was like, "Sure." So I just changed the names and submitted it.
Like, here you go. Oh, side note to something you were talking about earlier with fan fiction. We do not fan fiction shame on this channel. I met my husband through fanfiction.net. So
I love that.
let's support fan fiction. When I had my niece, who was at the time 12, tell me my resolution happened too quickly because she got a hold of my BFF's copy, I was so glad I pulled it. Well, that kid is going places.
Yeah.
I have a school essay printed in the local church magazine. It is so bad. Oh my Lord. I hate my teacher for that. See, I find that rude. People should ask your permission.
Oh, she didn't get permission?
That's what I assume, because he says he hates his teacher for sending it in. So I feel like they should either ask permission, or if they're someone like me who I'm just like, "You did what now? Oh, thank you. That's so nice." But also I have no shame. So there's that. It won me $100 though. Well, never mind. Why are you hating? Got you money. A lot of my old writing was in Yahoo groups. I think died a long time ago. I hoard. I have so many.
I don't even know what that is. Yahoo groups?
So it's fine. It's fine. I mean, my competition was illiterate straight boys who went to school. Okay. Hello, I just got off Emily Bourne's stream, been retroactively outlining Shadows of the Past using Plotter, getting the hang of using it, got roped into making a video about it. Oh, cool. I love videos about like programs and stuff, because when I'm like, "What the fuck is this? Is it useful?" I can just go watch somebody's video. It looks at my writing from school. Oh no. Embrace your old writing. That was as good as young you could do. Be nice to your younger selves, says the woman who called her younger self a bitch earlier. I'm though sometimes. When I was in high school, I didn't know how to write different characters. They all sounded the same and equally bland. Character voice is something that takes practice, and definitely there's narrative voice and character voice are fun for me to talk about. I really love them because I write in third person deep. So my narrative voice is my character voice.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I really love when the narrative voice is like the author's voice. It's more prevalent in like some older books, especially fantasy books.
Yeah.
But as long as the author voice is still entertaining, it's just nice, because then you know when you buy from that author, you're gonna love the narrative. But I also really like when the narrative is the character voice, because then I'm on a journey with the MC.
Yeah, I like third person limited, which is I end up writing in, because my introduction to it was through Here's Olympus by Rick Riordan, obviously. So that was like, I love this. Like, I love hearing some slight overlap of the same thing, like the same events from two wildly different perspectives, and like how much that shapes the narrative. And I love that. So that's I really like third person limited.
As do I. My old stories are one big incoherent run-on sentence, lots of "oh no, I'm sorry." But are the stories themselves good? That's the question. Because I used to write. So when I first started writing, I didn't use purple prose, and then at some point I was like, purple prose, I guess, is the way to go. So I got real purpley with all the prose, and now I look back at that and I'm like, why did you do this to yourself? Why did you go down that dark, dark alley?
Yeah, I started off extreme, and then I went extreme purple prose, then I went none, and then I'm like trying to find a good middle point where I'm like, or not a midpoint, but a good point in the middle where I'm like comfortable.
So I was scrolling through to see the comments, and I got very distracted by this. And let me just tell you, yes, at least according to my children, because my youngest will put a straw in ketchup and drink it if allowed.
No,
They're not my smoothie of choice. But according to my children, they function that way. Ah, yes, got you. I like a little purple pro. See, the purpliest prose, I'm just saying. Kids are wild. All right, so
kids.
Let's talk about some of the ways that we have learned and are therefore going to improve our re-debuting as self-published authors, which part of the reason that CB is my guest for this topic is because I tried to self-publish 8 years ago, and I'm older in a different stage of life, whereas CB tried to self-publish much more recent, and the way in which we failed is kind of very opposite. I did a lot of research, but I had too much ego. She did not have the same ego problem, just lacked knowledge and research.
Yep, lacking in both.
So obviously, for me, I did more research. I have since learned to put aside my ego, which I will say part of the issue with why I had an ego is because I grew up as a girl surrounded by mostly guys. So it was basically have confidence and have an ego, or just be walked over in all of my friend groups. And nobody walks over this bitch. So that's just basically what it was. And when you're just friends with a bunch of people who, like, they peacock and they bluster, and everybody is just like, yeah, well, you're wrong and I'm right for this reason and that reason, it is not the healthiest way to build a healthy confidence with an ability to accept when you are wrong. So basically, I took any time I was being told that I was wrong as a challenge to, it really shouldn't have been. And I'm way better about it now. Now if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't really care if you think I'm right or not. It's just like, okay, yeah, I fucked up. I was wrong.
Yeah.
I can accept that. And so I don't do the battles anymore. Now it's very much if somebody tells me something's wrong, I'm like, okay, is it wrong? Because I'm still not going to automatically just believe the other person. I find that to be very naive. But I will seek out other opinions and other advice. So I will be like, hey, I got this critique that says this about, say, my fight scene. And then, Chris or Fox or somebody will be like, yeah, that sounds right. And then I'll be like, fuck. And then I have to change it. Or they'll be like, no, I don't really see that. And then I go ask for 5 other opinions. Because I just need like one person whose opinion and perspective I really, really trust to agree with that other person. And then I'll be like, okay, I got to change it. But to be told I'm right, I now require a lot more people to be like, no, you're good, you're good. And I think that's a little bit of overcompensating, but I'd rather do it that way. So I learned to put my ego aside. There's a lot more resources available to make everything much easier. I'm definitely hiring professional editor. I even hire professional editors for my flash fiction and short stories that go on my website. So doing that. Excuse me. Building up my platform with all you lovely people before the sale of my book. While I do plan to re-release Journey of the Wolf, possibly under a different title, my current debut novel is going to be a wildly different story about something completely different, because I can't really work on Journey of the Wolf the way I want to. There's a little bit too much tied into that sense of failure for me, and I just, like, when I first took it down, I actually cried for like an hour or so, because I had rushed published it to prove something to myself. And
Yeah.
so unpublishing it was like I no longer had the proof anymore.
Yeah.
And I had to accept that I'm still good. I'll still make it. It's all right. So what are things that you plan to do?
So, my problems with my writing is, one, I didn't do research, so now I've done lots of research. And I'm working on finding people that will tell me that it's bad. Like that, I had kind of had almost the exact opposite problem than you, because I had people like, I would point out a mistake and be like, "Oh, this is a mistake," and people would be like, "No, it's not. It's good. It's great." And I'm like, "No, it's like literally I misspelled this word," and they're like, obviously that's a slight dramatization or whatever. But it was kind of like that. I'd be like, "Huh, this character who's supposed to be like romantic, this seems kind of creepy, like kind of really creepy," and they'd be like, "No, it's fine. It's great."
So you feel like you were patronized.
Yes, exactly. So I'm trying to work on like building up, finding people who I can like, they'll say the thing and I'll be like, okay, like I'll believe them, because right now when I get positive feedback, it's like, and I this sounds egotistical, but I really rarely get negative feedback, which I hate that I don't, because it invalidates all the positive feedback, if that makes sense. So, does that make sense?
Yes, I understand what you mean, because like from readers, I have always predominantly gotten back positive feedback. I just had an advantage because I had other friends who were writers, and they were not, especially my husband is actually who I would say is my harshest critic, but it comes from a place of, that's just kind of how we work, is we're really not afraid to tell each other, hey, I don't like that. I don't like this. I don't think you did this well. He's actually trying to work on adding in good things, because I used to just get a bunch of red marks from him and be like, did you like anything? And he's like, oh yeah, the dialogue was really funny. I liked this one scene. And I'm like, you could put that in here too. You know, that'd be fun. So I had a point before I went on there rambling. So yeah, sorry. I do that sometimes. But so yeah, it does definitely sound like we come from the exact opposite issues, and so now we're both trying to find that good balance there.
Yeah, I don't even know where I was going to say something else, but I've since forgotten it.
If you remember it, let me know. I've been known to drink it. I'm only highlighting this because there we go.
Slowly concerning.
We're having this deep conversation about our
People are like,
problems. Everyone in the chat is just like, but smoothie, ketchup, tomatoes. I love my audience. I try to recruit enough betas for balanced opinions. If 3 out of 5 people are saying something about my MC, it's worth looking into. Well, yeah, but that's the thing. you can't always guarantee you're going to find a balance of betas or that you'll even find the right betas. And I think it's really important because your friends and your family, a lot of times, if they are involved in your writing, are going to be the loudest voices pre-production. Because in the outlining phase, in the critiquing phase, if your critique partners are not honest with you, or if your critique partners are not taking you seriously enough and they're not letting you know what does and what doesn't work, then betas, it's a lot harder to figure out what beta feedback is good and isn't good. So betas are definitely important, but if you don't have that foundation for the betas, it doesn't happen.
I remember what I was going to say. So you mentioned how you had a bunch of writer friends. I did do. I'm moving in between high school and college right now, so I'm kind of in like limbo with friends, but it's fine. So I have friends who are writers, but out of all of them, I'm the most experienced and the most like, sounds weird, but like the most driven. Like I wanna do this as my career, and I'm putting the most effort into it out of all of us. And so when I send them stuff, I'll get like a little bit back. But when they send me stuff, I'll like do the whole like the thorough like whoosh. I don't know what the whoosh was, but you know,
the shebang.
A reaction. I'm blanking on the word. There is a word for this. So there's like that imbalance there. And then my dad, who I'm going through my book right now with, hadn't read my book. I've been writing for 5 years, and he hadn't read any of my writing until a month ago. Because his mom was a writer, so he grew up reading his mom's stuff, and you can't tell your mom that she's a bad writer. So he like didn't read my stuff because he didn't want to be like, daughter, I love you. You suck at writing. So he just didn't read it. So he didn't have a reaction. So go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So right now we're going through it, and he is so good at this. Like, it's kind of mean what I'm going to say, but he's more in depth than the editor.
Dang
which
it.
I'm not sure what this is about the editor, but I hope she's not watching this because. But he'll be like, "Hey, this sentence structure is throwing me off. This is out of character. This scene, like." He's so into it because he's always wanted to be a writer and grew up with mother as a writer, and he was an English major. And he knows fantasy books because he's been reading them for like a million years. And so he'll like pick apart my writing, and I love it. It's so great. He doesn't hold anything back, and it's like, is this honest feedback that helps? So yeah.
I'm really glad that you have him to work with you now. A little anecdote about my writing and my parents was, my parents have always been like neutrally supportive. It's basically whatever you want to do in life, like we'll support you. Just as long as you're happy, that's all we care. And so for some reason, I didn't actually think that they would care about my novels, even though they're both prolific readers. And so when I published my novel, my mother called me up and she was like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And I was like, "What? You don't read werewolves." And my dad, who is the reason that I got into horror and everything as a kid, he just like read it without like telling me he was going to read it. And then he was like, "I liked it. Let me know when the sequel comes out." And I was just like, "Oh, okay, cool. Anybody else in the family reading it? I just need to know."
Yeah, my older brother has not read it. My little brother did, though. When he was like 10 or 11.
My little sister has been reading my writing since she could read. And let me tell you, she is one of my favorite beta readers ever because she she's kind of a critique partner, kind of a beta reader. I don't call her a critique partner because she doesn't write, so I don't critique anything for her. But she does read it before it goes out to betas a lot of times. And I will purposely leave in sassy things in my outlines because, for example, in one outline, she was reading through it and like we're in a call and she's like, hey, so it was raining earlier and you forgot to say if it was still raining or not. And I'm like, oh, okay, can you make a note of that there so I remember to do that? And she's like, yeah, I have to go delete my note. Why? You said, and it has stopped raining like 2 sentences down. And I'm like,
Yes.
she does that all the time. So I'm really glad that you both have your dad to help you and that you listen to him. Because like I said, I've kind of always had that with Chris. And
My little brother read my book, and his response was, I'm like, thanks. Really useful.
Jamie and I originally planned to publish the series on a blog back when it was fanfic. We never got past the first 2 installments as far as posting them. However, we have a ton of material that evolved into Midnight Days. Ah, yeah, use that stuff. We've yet to officially publish anything. Technically, neither of us, because it doesn't exist anymore.
Am I unpublished too? I'm an ex-published author. I'm
the previously published author, now
back
known
in
as
my day, back when I was a published author.
That's our new motto. If you haven't already read Sam's short story on our website, yes, I love when people read it and then like they think it's a romance and then they get to the end and they're like, you bitch. And I'm like, you should have read the genre. The CP feedback is so important. Yes, I say it's still important.
Mm-hmm.
Still important, Matt. That's a mood. CPs are great for sure. I depend on betas who read and write within the same genre as me for feedback on aspects of storytelling and character arcs. I haven't had a lot of success with that. For me, I like to get betas that I like for most of my betas to not be readers. Like I want some betas that are readers, but I want I meant writers. I want most of my betas to be readers.
Huh.
Some of them, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on some new migraine medication this month, so
I'm not joking.
I already know. Starting over,
Yes.
I like for most of my beta readers to be readers, but not writers. And for some of them to be writers. And the reason is because writers and readers do not read stories the same way.
Yeah.
And you can get a writer who will beta read your story and they will critique your story like they would if they were writing it, which is a little bit of a problem because then that leads to them projecting things. And then and you can tell when you read the feedback because you're like, okay, that's not what my intention was. So changing it that way wouldn't really help me. Whereas a reader is mostly just going to read what's there. Or even if they do project things, it's just a little different. And both are important because writers are also readers. So there are going to be writers who read your story, but most of the people who read are going to be readers. And you need to make sure that you're translating it well to both. So
it's like I'm currently betaing one of your stories, and I'm a writer, obviously.
You're fine. It's all good. There are writers who can beta and beta well because they can turn their writer brain off. Not to toot my own horn, but I am an excellent beta reader. You can ask Jenna. I beta read The Savior's Sister, and I loved doing it because I am first and foremost, I'm a writer, but I am a prolific reader and I love reading and I love getting lost in the story and gushing about characters and gushing about scenes and stuff. And there would be parts when the question is like, well, what did you think about this scene? And I'm like, oh, I think this, and this, and I think there's some foreshadowing here, and I am here for it. And like, that's all of my thing. So, but on the flip side, I have a really good friend who is a writer, and they're a very good writer, but they will not beta because they are like, I am a terrible beta. They're like, I will critique for you, but bitch, I ain't betaing shit. And I'm
I
like,
have no idea if I'm a good beta.
this is fair. We'll find out. I do believe people can learn to be betas,
Yes.
but yeah, so it's just, that's one of those things. And trust me, I've gotten some beta feedback that I'm just like, okay.
I'm nervous.
You're fine.
Hmm.
I'm trying to figure out where I was.
I'm actually doing betas for the first time, like real betas with like people I don't know, like sign up sheets and stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be shining.
What?
I'm gonna be shining that. I said I'm gonna be shining that. I'm gonna be signing up for that.
Yes, thank you.
CPs are great, but nope, I read that.
I'm friends.
I totally get what you're talking about. I sort of. How do you say your last name?
Friends.
Ferrenz. Oh, I've been saying it right. Ferrenz. Okay.
Yeah.
I sort of outgrew the hobby writing group I was in a few years ago because I felt I was the only one who wanted to make this a career. Yes.
Yeah,
Anyway,
sorry.
go ahead.
I co-wrote a fanfiction with someone, and it ended up being like 14,000 words, which is pretty big, like for just a like side project. And I had so much fun with it because we had extremely different writing styles. Mine's like, his is very analytical and almost mathematical the way he writes.
So that reminds me of when my husband and I used to co-write fan fiction, and back in the day, my writing was very much. I'm not sure if anyone else will get this, but at the time, my writing was very action guy fanfic. So like things were important, eyebrows raised, we shrugged our words, and then my husband, he was like he was writing a romance novel. So the contrast was so interesting, and it's great too. Because, we breaking those gender dynamics. People would, full on assume I'd the one writing the romancy shit. And I'm like, that's all.
Yeah, my parts of the story ended up being like sarcastic comments, commentary on everything that's going around. But like commentary in the moment. And then his parts were like analyzing people and their battle strategy and like the way they walk and like thinking about it. And actually, people liked his parts better than mine, which really hurt my ego.
So, Journey of the Wolf, I co-wrote with a friend, and so he was writing the companion novel to it from the male MC's point of view, and my mother's favorite character was, of course, his MC. And I was like, I already knew. My mom was a writer, and she read some of my early drafts. She mainly gave good feedback because she was afraid to discourage me. Ah, I always say, listen. Okay, so for my current project, Stieg had only read part of book 1's outline, and I forgot about that. So after our stream last week, I ended the broadcast and we're just shooting the shit after. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to so-and-so's death scene. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, you've read the outline. And he's like, he was still alive in the outline. I'm like, oh, you've only read book 1. And he was not pleased with me.
I mentioned this yesterday. The best reaction I've ever had from someone reading my writing is actually 2. I was sitting under a table because I'm quirky, writing like this really sad, emotionally scene where someone basically dies. And I had 2 girls who at the time I was 13. So I had 2 16-year-olds who at the time I was like, oh, the big kids. And so I was sitting under the table and I would write like a page. I would pass the notebook out. They would read it. And I had 2 of them crying. And then they would pass it back down and I'd keep going. And it was the best experience of my life.
I am very twisted because I had a critique partner who would send me pictures of tears on her palm and just be like, "You did this," and I'm like,
I love
"Yeah,
that.
which part did it?" That's like when I go to write really sad or really emotional or like emotionally traumatic scenes, I'm just like, "Oh, I can't wait for people to read this," and I'm so horrible.
Yeah, I alternate like between whether I feel bad or not. Like I feel physically like the things you feel when you feel sad, but I'll be also giggling like while I'm crying and like my chest is tight. I'll be like,
I
because
I lack any of the guilt associated with it. But I don't know. It's a high for me. I think it's in part just because ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a storyteller, and I just bounced back and forth between how I wanted to tell the stories. So by the time I settled on author, I was just like, yes, all the readers will cry. The way authors have made me cry for years.
yeah, I've always loved telling stories. Like there was this game that we played in lunch in 6th grade. So this is like days before I decided to become a writer. Where you pick a door and then it led to a kingdom and you would have to rise up through the ranks of the kingdom and you eventually went to war with your fellow players. Except one person would be like the DM. It was kind of like D&D, except it's all by word of mouth, no die. And so we would play doors and it was great. And I love your cat. And so that's why I was like, I love these stories. And I would like introduce love interests and I would like kill off best friends and that would be so powerful. It's like choose your own adventure. It is choose your own adventure. Except there are no boundaries. Like you don't choose between.
Yeah, it sounds like a tabletop.
Yeah,
a tabletop RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Right. TSS was so good that it turned my writer brain right off and reignited my slumbering reader brain. Yes, I love that. Good books do that. My sister read through the part of the first draft until she burst out laughing because description was weird. Now it's a running joke that is mentioned as soon as my writing is mentioned. Is this a good running joke that we laugh with, or is this a oh no running joke? I need to know the context. Hey, shout out to AO3 where I also have published.
Nice.
Look, people. Y'all can't even handle it in the outline. How are you going to cope when I write this scene? That's what I need to know. When Jamie and I started writing together, our styles were different. Over the years, they've blended together to the point where we now look at a scene and barely remember who originally wrote it. Oh, that's good.
That's great.
All right. Does anybody here have any questions about self-publishing, as neither of us are particularly successful experts yet, but we are experts on what not to do and how one fucks up, and now we are becoming experts in how to avoid these things.
It's called trial and error, people. We're really doing the error part. Eventually we'll get the other side.
I crashed and burned, so you don't have to. I cry from commercials on the telly. I bawl when I read sad parts enough. This is fair. Oh yes, I too have been published on AOE3. Sometimes I still get emails that someone left kudos, and I'm violently reminded that I used to write host fanfiction. Oh no. I got a comment on fanfiction.net last year, and I was like, who is still reading this? I was like, this fanfiction is old. So
I shut my door so my cats can't come in because it's like blocking off the noises from the rest of the house.
See, I sit in front of the living room cat tree.
So great.
So it's set up. We've got a faux bay windows in the front, so the cat tree is there so that they can get sun during the day. But I keep the curtains closed during streams because I don't need people knowing the road I live on.
I have giant windows, so my cats just chill like next to the window in the sunlight.
That happens to me every so often. LOL. I get a comment or a favorite, and I'm like, I forgot that existed. Right? Bit of both. I was trying to think of a different way to describe a wet path and ended up with moist cobbles trying to
I love that. Like, I hate it, but I love
was
it.
the downfall. So I don't know. I don't have a problem with the word moist. I think it's a perfectly fine and descriptive word. So I'm just like, my only thing is like, how are the cobbles only moist? There's the logistics there that get me. But yeah, I'm trying to think because we had talking points, but I think we've gone through our talking points.
I think we have.
So
There's
let me
nothing
check.
left to say.
Fucked up. Oh yeah, definitely hiring a professional cover designer this go round, which is the thing you said that you did right. And you said you're working with your old cover designer to improve the cover.
Yeah, I haven't actually contacted her about this, but I'm gonna have her redo the spine and the back because the back is not nearly as much fun as the front. It's just kind of gray. And she made the cover and everything for book 2, which is beautiful. It's so cool. I don't know if I haven't revealed the cover, but I'm not sure if I revealed the title, so I'm not saying anything. I'm not gonna
Like
say
I want to say all the
remember.
things, but
But yeah, basically everyone who knows me knows the title, but it's fine. It's a mystery to you guys. That actually reminds me of why I redid Shadows in the first place. That's the first book. It's because I know that I've improved so much as a writer in the past little while.
Mhm.
And I know I'm very confident, like probably a little too confident in how far I've come. And in the second book, I'm like, that is a story. Like, I wrote that.
Like now we're on the ball.
In the third book, don't even get me started. Y'all are gonna be destroyed. It's gonna be so great. I'm so excited to write it. I'm already like a third into it because of weird timeline stuff. So I've already written like a third book. Anyways, I wanted to fix the first book so that people can actually get, like, they'll make it to the second, eventually the third, because that's like my main thing. Like, okay, I'm confident. I'm putting so much work into 2 and 3, but if no one ever gets past number 1, it's not going to matter.
So is that why you decided to re-debut book 1, is because you just felt it was so far behind the skill of the other 2 that you don't want to be an author where it's like, well, if you get past book 1, it's pretty good? Because I do know quite a few series that people
like
say
it's
that about.
kind of like a hook. People are never gonna get into the novel and the series, if the trilogy, if they don't like book 1, because they're just, the discrepancy was getting bigger and bigger as I work on the second book. That it wasn't even. It'd be better to put like previously on in the front of the second book than actually have people read the first book.
In case you couldn't get through book 1, I don't blame you.
I don't blame you at all.
For me, that was I took, I think, a month to decide whether or not I wanted to re-debut it, because there was conflicting feeling. Like when I looked it up, there was conflicting sentiments. That's the word I'm looking at for. There was conflicting sentiments on it, because it was like, no, you've already published. It's not fair to readers that have already bought it and everything. And then there was the other thing that it's like, but it's not really reflective of my writing. It has been it was 5 or 6 years at the time since I had published it. And there were just like, there were more reasons to redo it than there were to just let it sit. Basically, letting it sit just boiled down to, it's already published and you should just accept that. And then Sherilyn Kenyon, whom is a Southern dyslexic writer who writes like 4 or 5 novels a year, that at the time I really looked up to as far as, being an author. She was like, I'm republishing, I'm re-releasing a novel that was previously called Fantasy Lover and is now called Dark Hunter. And she's like, this is why I'm doing it. And it was essentially, when she first wrote it, she didn't have any weight as an author, right? She was new. The publishing company did what they wanted to do. She didn't want it to be advertised primarily as a romance because it's a fantasy romance. And there were like a bunch of reasons. And in all honesty, if you looked at Fantasy Lover, it was romancy. And then every other book in this series was a fantasy with a romance or fantasy romance. So like, yeah, there was a difference there.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, why not? Like, she did it. She had her reasons. And I felt that when I re-debuted it, it would be so much better. And I would rather people read the new thing. And like, I was still a little like nobody, basically a little blip in the writing world. So I was like, fuck it. If anybody is all like, hey, I had this book, I'll just give them a free copy.
Yeah, those 81 people who bought Shadows previously, just ask and I'll give you like an ebook.
You don't even gotta give me
about making you read it, because I'm guessing most of them are like friends and family. I was like, did you buy my book? So if they want it, I'll just like give them a copy.
I put you through that.
So sorry.
We got a few comments here. What is the biggest part of the indie author journey you feel you've tackled, and what is something you're still struggling with?
Like something we succeeded on?
Wait, real quick. Ninja, stop being here while you're driving. Don't crash. Sorry, I had to yell at my friend. So the biggest part of the indie author journey you feel you've tackled, and what is something that you're still struggling with? The biggest part for me that I've tackled, I'll start with the part that I'm struggling with, and that is just being able to consistently build my platform while raising 3 kids and dealing with a chronic illness. Because sometimes I will have a flare-up and I will have absolutely no energy to do anything. And for me, when I go back and I edit my videos, I can tell the videos I had energy and the videos that I filmed through brain fog. Like, post-edited, it's a lot harder to see, but there are times when, like, if y'all think I'm bad on the stream some days, I'll just be sitting there like this, looking at my script. Because I just can't remember what I'm supposed to be reading. And then I'll say the same line over and over and over, like 4 different times. And so I've got that where I'm trying to build up my platform so that I can connect to others and to the community and everything. So when my book is, when I'm ready for beta readers, I will be able to find more beta readers and all of that. And then at the same time, I have to find time to work on my book, which is still in the outlining phase. I thought I was done. I thought I was so close to done with my outline. And then I went back and I read through my outline and I realized there's this giant chunk of time where Nova's like training. And I'm like, I can't just have this weird time montage here. I've got to have something else going on.
I skipped 4 weeks. I have a time skip in my book. I was like,
every 4 weeks.
Domestic happiness. We don't care about it. They're bonding. Let's move on.
Something happened. So what I've done is I've actually added in some other things that are going on, some espionage and whatnot. So that's fun. As for some things that I've tackled.
Do you want me to go? What do you think?
Yeah, go ahead while I think.
So I think my biggest struggle is crippling self-doubt. Oh my gosh.
We're opposites in everything.
So yeah, self-confidence. No. I've improved so much on that front though, which I'm kind of proud of myself. Be medicated, guys. If you have mental illness, it's good. So I guess self-doubt,
Yeah,
your success?
The thing we've tackled. So I think something we've struggled with that we've been able to overcome. Is that what you mean by tackle? If I misunderstood.
I think it's struggle and overcome and still struggling with.
Yeah.
I'm still struggling with confidence, and then you're still struggling with. I'm blanking.
Like, well, I already said what I was still struggling with. It's what I've tackled. My ego really is it, and like that's what I tackled. It was it was just that span of time where I was like, no, I know what I'm doing better than everyone, which in part with going back to something you said earlier, I was used to being the best one in the room. So it was hard. I had to find people. There we go. I had to find people who were better than me so that I could get the help I needed.
Yeah, it's good being like in the middle of the room, so you don't feel like you're a drain on anyone, but you also get like
a Snoop Dogg like piece of advice is to always be the dumbest person in the room, and that's like, yeah. I think ever since I heard that, I actively sought people who were better than me, and that was one of the things with Chris. Chris and I are equals, and we've always seen each other as equals. So it was hard to like accept certain things. And yeah, so just finding people who were better than me that could genuinely help me, because that was the other thing. Even like when people gave me feedback, it wasn't always good feedback. What aspect of writing was the most difficult?
I've overcome.
Oh, I'm sorry. What have you overcome?
Cutting me off, Sam. Okay, it's actually funny. We're gonna be opposites again.
Yeah.
One of my things I'm currently very proud of is platform growth, which I know I only have like 75 subscribers, but I've also only released 4 or 5 videos.
Yeah, that's really good.
And from the last week to now, a week ago, I'm pretty sure I had 45 subscribers.
Yes, your growth is very good.
So that's because for 2 years I was completely stagnant, like nothing. And I was like, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel, and all of a sudden I have writer friends, and everything's looking up.
Yes, get it, grow. I lost the question there. What aspect of writing was the most difficult to learn? So part of the reason I had such an ego problem is because there's a lot of things that storytelling that come naturally to me. I actually have a friend who will be like, hey, how do you write like this, like character voice well? And I'm like, how do one write character voice well? And so it's like, when I started making the channel, that was the first topic that my friend requested that I do. And so I had to sit there and think about how to explain that. So I don't think there's any aspect of writing in that way that was difficult, but learning the technical side, the grammar side, learning sentence structure was, I guess, would be my most difficult part, because I am dyslexic and I actually process things in backwards syntax sometimes. And I have a friend who will specifically be like, Sam, this sentence does not make sense. And I read it and it makes total sense to me. But because he told me that it doesn't make sense, I'm like, how doesn't it make sense? And then he'll explain that and I'll be like, okay. So when you read that, what did you think it meant? And he'll tell me what he thought it meant. And then I'll be like, oh, that is not what I meant. Yeah. So then I have to like work the sentence 4 or 5 times. So I guess that would be the most difficult part for me.
For me, the most difficult part, this is going to sound bad because it's a lot of writing, is descriptions. Not of movement, not of emotions, is literally what people look like, what places look like.
You're like, just use your imagination. They're just blobs.
No,
They're
I
in
can see them.
a
I
white
can see them
room.
so well. They're the most clear thing I have ever seen. That's for me, for writing and for reading. It's a movie in my head. That's also why I want to go into movie making. Actress, director, writer, and screenwriter. Anyways, for me, it is a movie in my head. So I know exactly what everyone looks like. Like they're there. And I know what everything looks like. It's just how communicating that to y'all is the difficult part. Where it's like, it's this. And people be like, it's this. And I'm like, no.
You're like, mm-mm.
I had two readers. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say an anecdote. Am I using that word right? I'll figure that out later.
Anecdote?
But yes, maybe. A side note here that is not necessarily related, but related.
A side note. An anecdote is like a personal story, like a short story that is relevant to the topic at hand. Boom, English class.
Then yes, it is an anecdote. Thank you. So when reading my outline for a series, my sister and my friend started making fun of me because all the blondes that were in it, and I got really confused because I'm literally like, there's literally 2 out of 10 people who are blonde. Everybody else has like black or brown hair, and I went through and had to prove it because the only thing they paid attention to was when it said blonde. So just saying, sometimes even if you put in the descriptions, people don't pay attention. But
I had 2 readers. 2. Like, it wasn't a freak occurrence. It happened twice. They thought that my character, who is 12 years old and is described multiple times as being short, childish, and 12, and a halfling, was an old man with a bent back and a long beard. 2 people thought this.
That's a very specific image.
I know, because there's a different character that looks like that. They don't have any scenes together. There's literally...
hold on. Are their names similar?
The old man isn't named.
Oh.
It's just 2 completely separate characters that...
Well, you just can't control it. Can't control everything. It's fine. Yes, I love Sherilyn Kenyon as well. If you like stories about damaged people being loved, Sherilyn Kenyon's your girl. What is the most difficult part of publishing, and how did you get through it?
Marketing. Does that count? Does that count as publishing? I love doing the editing and the beta reader stuff that I did do. I love that because I found like a few people. One of the people who thought the child was an old man ended up being, she's now one of my beta readers. I love her. She's amazing. And she now accepts that he is a child. I love beta reading, doing beta reading and editing and everything, which I thought was going to be painful, but I actually love it. And so I hate marketing so much. It's so difficult.
So the most difficult part of publishing, waiting. For me, it's waiting on other people. Is anytime I have to wait for somebody else for me to do something, because I love outlining, I love the drafting, I love editing, I love revising, I love marketing because I like to brag and boast about everything I love. I've gotten 3 friends to order Clever Fox planners in the past few days because I love Clever Fox planners so much. If I like it and I believe in it, I will talk about it and I will gush about it, and then other people are like, they're just like, hey, that sounds good, that's cool. My late grandma and mom came over today, and my sister was like, sell them on the Ring Fit so I can get a Switch. And I'm like, all right, come here, let's show you the Ring Fit. It's just unashamedly loving things and talking about it. If you unashamedly love something and talk about it, other people will know you are genuine. And so if you unashamedly love your own writing, people are going to get curious. They're going to be like, what is this? Is this author? Like, they'll generally take one of 2 mindsets. They'll be like, damn, this author must be good. They love their own writing. Or they'll be like, this bitch is full of shit. And then they'll spite read it. And I'm like, I don't care. It's a sale either way.
Still bought it. Yeah. So
Spite read me, support me.
I'm terrified that people, when I try and market my own stuff, I'm terrified that people think I'm just full of myself. And I was like, oh yeah, it's a good book. And they'll be like, and I'll be, I'm sorry. But marketing other things, like, I was a Girl Scout. I am a Girl Scout. I've been a Girl Scout since I was like 7. I love marketing other people's things.
I've been called full of myself since I was like 5. So just own it. Just be like, so what if I'm full of myself? I'm pretty great. That's easy to say, but it's my only advice. So work up to that.
Yeah, I've gotten to the point where like I'm confident in my storytelling skills. Not so sure about the writing it down, but I can come up with good stories.
I can tell you my story all day long. We'll work on writing it on paper though.
Yeah, that's like a thing I do with my friends. I just tell them stories and like put the I have sleepovers with friends where I'm like sitting there for like 6 hours telling a story where they're in it and stuff. Like I've done so many and I'm very confident in that. But writing it down,
I've told my outline to like all of my CPs. I don't even have all of it written down yet, but I've told them all of it. Like I will spend hours and none of them have complained so far. So it's good. Overcome where I've grown everywhere. I try to continue to grow everywhere and I try to continue to just get better because I am really mean to myself and I'm like, if you're not getting better, you suck. I don't look at other people that way, but I look at me that way.
Yep. So
that's finding people that are better than you. Also a rude awakening.
I like being in a group where like some people, I don't mean it in a mean way, but some people like aren't as good as you so that you feel useful too. So like you're not just taking advice, you can also give it in some cases. Because then I'm like, I'm helping people and I'm getting help. It's an exchange. It's not the same people, but
you like to be in the middle.
I like to be in the middle.
I have a grand total of 9. 9 what, Candy? I don't know the context
covering in my like
peripheral. 9 stories. What's the best way to get beta readers, and is it better to have a platform created before searching for them? So I got beta readers for my story or for my first novel before I had a platform, and I just went on like role play sites that I was a part of, on fan fiction and stuff, and I just asked everybody. I just like went person to person, and I'd be like, "Hey, I'm writing a story. Would you mind beta reading it for me?" Now I advertise when I'm looking for betas. I just finished a beta round. I actually need to see if the beta application is off my site or not yet. But for a short story, there are hashtags on Twitter and Instagram, and there are Facebooks, and really Googling, just how to find betas or where to find betas can be very useful. They are everywhere. And I'm not going to lie and say it's easy to find them though, but there are a lot of different places one can look.
So yesterday, that was actually my yesterday, was how to find betas. Where I binged all of Jenna's videos on betas, like every single one, just like in succession. Then I did a little more research, but yeah, that was the majority of it. And then I just posted so many places, and it was when I previously had mentioned baiting like a while ago. The reason I had so few is I didn't have a platform, and they're all friends, but there was like 3 of them. And it's been like just over 24 hours, and I have like 7 betas already, or like 7 applicants, and it's so cool.
I do, yes. Having a platform definitely helps. I forgot to.
Yes, answer the question. Yes, because of platformness, betas appear. Right. It's a wild beta. That makes it feel like a wolf.
I think the description problem comes from seeing your character so clearly. It creates a disconnect between how you perceive what you've written and how others do. I'm working on the same problem. This is actually a very good point. I don't get mental imagery.
Oh.
So I have to describe things to
No,
convey what I want.
I like literally can sit there and watch my book unfold. I did a mile swim once, one time, and I'm not a swimmer, so I can swim. So I spent the entire mile swim. It wasn't a race, it was a race, but I wasn't racing because everyone else was like a junior Olympic swimmer. And I was like, I'm doing backstroke. And I planned out a scene just in the water, like doing my little backstroke, doggy paddle. And that's I just watch the scene unfold, and I can like rewind and retry lines and stuff like that. But it's all images.
From what I understand, that is the norm, and mine is not the norm. And like I only found out there's actually a phrase for it. It's aphantasia, I believe is how it's said, where people are just unable to visually picture things. And there's like different levels of it. Some people see fuzzy, some people don't see it at all. I don't really see it at all unless there's music involved. I can make a music video in my head, but other than that, nothing. When I'm reading a book, it's just black, it's whatever. And my whole life, when people said I can just picture it, I thought it was just a turn of phrase.
Yeah.
So it's just fascinating.
No, like literally every night. I do stories.
Sophie does make a very good point. It might be because you see it so clearly that
probably.
Having a pre-existing platform helps a lot of things, but joining writing groups can also be a resource to find CPs and betas. I found success with this via Discord and Facebook. Yes.
I didn't even pick up that it was wrong. I was like, oh yeah, face group.
It's a group for faces. I also see stuff as a movie in my head when I write, so I forget to describe people. So there you go. You are one of those clever fox friends. Yes, I can't wait till you get yours in. He got a turquoise one. Oh, also, speaking of clever fox and pimping out friends, so Jenna actually just made a video about her clever fox and like how she uses it and her quarterly goes. She has an affiliate link and a coupon code. So
yeah, I'm definitely gonna get one through there because I keep hearing it. Like today, I've heard of clever fox so many times. I've never heard of it before. Then today, it's like everywhere.
It's because it's a new quarter. July starts the third quarter of the year, so now everybody's getting their planners and everything. And I can show. I will give you an in-depth tour of the planner after the stream.
Yes, definitely. I need a planner because I like writing things down by hand, but I'm lazy. We
do. It makes me so happy to see so many clever fox people in here. Get all this shit done. Woo. On Wednesdays, we wear clever fox. If anyone can market, it's the Girl Scouts. Gotta love Thin Mint. They don't even gotta market. They're just like Thin Mints, and everyone's like, yes.
Would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies? I've spent probably like so much of my childhood standing outside grocery stores in the cold going, would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies? Our best place were outside alcohol stores. There is an alcohol store near where I live, and years ago.
Absorb the alcohol.
Stores. But we would stand outside and all the people buying their alcohol, and then there'd be a small children being like, hi, would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies? And then I'll be like, yeah.
Do it. So my husband used to be like super heartless when it came to people doing that. He would only like buy it because he likes the Samoas. That's the only reason. But now after we have kids, he ran into the store one day and he comes back out and I'm just sitting in the car playing on my phone, and then I look up and he like has this giant thing of popcorn kernels. And I'm like,
Boy Scouts.
Why? And he went, there was a little boy outside the store and he just looked up at me and it's gonna start raining, and I'm like, honey, he's like, I went back in the store to buy something so I would have cash, and I'm like, oh my god.
So there's a point of limbo between when you're a Girl Scout or Boy Scout, now just Scouts BSA, which I am both a Boy Scout and a Girl Scout.
Oh, cool.
There's a point of limbo between you're a cute kid, and you can get people to buy your stuff for your cuteness, and they all know it's a tool. We use it. We manipulate you guys to our advantage. And then there's like 13 through like 12 through 15, probably through 14. Is you're not going to sell that many boxes or like that much because you're no longer a cute kid. You're just some freaking preteen. And then when you hit 15 and up, you're now a teenager. You are a young business person, and you present it in that way. Like, so you're like, hi, would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies? All funds that I get are going towards me going to summer camp or buying new camping gear. And you use it that way. Then sales go up again.
I will now have to buy things from the poor preteens because that's just.
No one buys them, and they do the most work.
Hearing Sam gush about her story makes me all warm and fuzzy. Aw, thank you.
That's so sweet.
I'm having trouble finding resources for researching mixed race people of color and also finding beta readers who are the same or similar mixed race as my two principal characters. There's a Tumblr called Writing with Color that I know has a lot of resources. Maybe they can help. I have mixed children, but I myself am just very white. With a little bit of Cherokee that my grandmother passed down, and that's it. YouTube subscribers. Oh, okay.
That's how you got me, I'm guessing.
No. Candy has 9 YouTube subscribers.
Oh,
I gotta check Candy out. Sophie, I have the same problem with descriptions. Part of that comes from the fact our series used to be fanfic, so we didn't bother. We assumed people. That's fair.
See, I was better at describing fanfiction people because I'd be like big descriptions because I'm like, it's the person. Do you know it's the person? Guess what?
I grew up reading fantasy and romance, so I always wanted this dramatic. Like, I refuse to describe a tree in 8 sentences, but damn it, I'll tell you all about their hair, their hairstyle, their eyes, their eye color.
MC in Shadows. His name's Derek. He's also the love interest of our main character. I don't ever describe him on purpose because he's described as attractive, and that is it. Like nothing else.
I have a friend who absolutely hates that. Anytime he reads something that's all like, oh, well, they're attractive, they were good looking. He's like, that is for me to decide. Let me know. Does he have a crooked nose? Is he blonde? Is he brunette? I will decide if he's good looking.
What you learn is that he is shorter than another male character who's super tall. He has hair that covers the tops, isn't long enough to cover the tops of his ears. He's an archer, so it implies that he's muscular. And it's implied that he's attractive by the fact that the main character is like... But other than that, there's like nothing. And I love it that way, because when people read the book, I'm like, hey, what do you think Derek looks like? And they'll give these descriptions, and I'm like giggling, and they're like, what? And I'm like, he doesn't look like anything. Well, to me, he looks like someone, and to everyone else, he looks like someone else. And it's so much fun for me.
Yes, reader projections can be fascinating. It was a race, but I wasn't racing. Welcome back! Mood. Every time people say mood, I feel old. Same with bet.
That's going away, I think. It was like it was a thing for a little while, but now it's fading because everyone like took it to the extreme. Mood's still there. I like mood. And big brain is becoming a bigger thing.
That was the thing all of my late teens and early 20s. So you're like, it was the thing for a little while, and I'm like, what's it now?
It had a resurgence, and now the resurgence is fading. In my opinion, correct me if I am wrong.
I have no idea. I'm not hip anymore.
I'm not hip, which is sad because I'm supposed to be a teenager. Well, I am a teenager.
Yeah. I am sorry they only ship to America, but you can buy them through Amazon, which ships everywhere, as you know, because that's how you bought yours.
Oh.
My degree is in film, so it's easy for me to visualize things cinematically. Ooh, nice. Stiff arms, Girl Scout, stop talking and give me that stuff. Oh, Candy got 10 subs now. Go check out Candy. A Girl Scout troop was outside of a That's the best business model right there.
Yes, it is.
And I got a lot of Viking in me. That's where
I have some Viking in me.
comes from.
So my dad,
my family
really
is
into
Norse. Oh, go ahead.
So my dad's into pagan stuff, and he has some Norse in him. And then they did like the 23andMe, and it turns out my mom has more, which means I have more. I love running in his face.
You were the most Norse. I am also Norse, predominantly. So, which I theorize is culturally what my family. I mean, we're very Americanized, but I feel like culturally, when I look at other countries versus how my family acts versus how my friends' families act, I'm like, we are so Norwegian. So, but 10 now. Yeah. Can I help you, small children?
Yeah.
Go that way. Shoo, upstairs. Yeah, it's 8. Yes, Sam, that is me. Tell me what they look like. I will tell you if they are attractive. He does. I love it. He goes on rants. I'm a costume major. I describe the clothes too much and everything else not enough.
I do describe my clothes a lot because I'm like, it matters.
I love when like world building includes the fashion. So I don't particularly care about certain parts of world building, but you give me a book that's got like the fashion all like out, I'm like, yes, I'm here for it. Because to me, that's like the more important part, because fashion, most people express themselves through their fashion, whether consciously or not.
I'm a prison convict.
So, yeah. I was actually going to point out at like both of us, we're like ponytail tank tops, and we act very similarly. So it's just kind of like that thing.
We're connected.
And it can be such a good tool to convey certain things. But then like when somebody goes into the world building of like all of these mountain ranges and the great agriculture and all of this other stuff that's about it that never comes up in the story, I'm like, what does that mountain range tell me about the MC?
I feel like clothing is more important to the story than agriculture, because mostly everyone's wearing clothes. Depends on the story, but overall, everyone's
not wearing clothes. That's also important.
That's also very important. But like, you don't. It's good for the author to know like the agriculture, like generally. Like I know where my people get their food plants. I just blanked.
They're far. You know how they eat.
Yeah.
So my husband actually, my husband has a viewpoint on it where he says the world building is for the author. The world building is predominantly for the author, so we can tell a story within this world. That most of the world building we do is never really going to be important within the story we're telling. And I'm just like he said that the other night, and I'm like, I knew that was a thing that you've always known, but like you saying it right now, I'm just like, my God, you're smart.
That is very words. Very good words.
I won't let Bet die. I refuse. Bet. Wait, are you supposed to? Yeah. Are they naked, Steve? Are they naked?
They could be naked. Again, important things.
You know, I can't really explain it. Describe it like he wore enough clothes to not go to prison. So not what you're wearing with your prison tank top.
Yes.
See what people come up with. Welcome back, Jenna. You actually
we were talking a lot about you.
We were talking about. Yeah. I was bragging about you again. What else is new? Hi. The party can start. Jenna's back. The party never stopped. I had something else.
Yes. I remembered the analogy I was trying to make in my mind. Jenna was the gateway drug to AuthorTube. There we go.
Wait, she was the what? I cut out.
Gateway drug. It's like the first
Oh,
time, and then you know. So yeah.
really? Now I want to know. Someone give me a recap. Okay. I bragged about Clever Fox and then about your video and your affiliate link and discount code.
Yes,
What
which
else
I'm
was
going there next after this
Oh,
ends.
I talked about, excuse me, we were talking about betas.
Yes.
Sorry, I burp a lot. We were talking about betas, and I was like, not to toot my own horn, but you can ask Jenna, because I got to beta The Savior Sister, and I'm a really good beta, but then there are other authors who, like, they will author friends that tell me that they do not like to beta because they're not good at beta. What else?
Apparently, Sam's going to test me whether or not I can beta.
But you signed up. I think that was the recap.
Talking about how the Savior Sister helped someone get back from writer brain to reader brain.
Matt said it reignited his reader brain.
Yes.
There you go. That's
what
the recap.
Savior's Champion did for me, which was great because I hadn't like read a book for fun in like years, and then I was like, yeah.
He wore clothes and was very attractive. Oh, my heart. See, right there. I'm simultaneously flattered and enraged.
You need that on a shirt. You need that on a shirt.
My new merch line. I'm simultaneously flattered and enraged. I just speak the truth. Oh, because she was asking about how to get good at marketing because somebody asked what was one of our, and I was telling her to gush about things that you love.
Because I'm terrible at marketing. Like,
love your writing.
Bad. It makes me very uncomfortable. Like, no matter how proud I am of what I'm marketing, I'll be like, I feel like I'm imposing, but at the same time, you signed up for it, guys. You followed me. But at the same time, I feel really bad. Inner conflict. I just cut my lip. You can see it on the Fine. It hurt.
I only filmed 2 videos because I was. Oh no! You got 2 videos done though. So
yeah. I really need to start backlogging videos.
I have all of July backlog now, and I'm like, I need to get August done too. He had all the right features in all the right places. And he did stuff. Oh yeah, it's super uncomfortable at first, but the more you do it, the more comfortable. Yeah, one of our things was that she and I are actually super opposite in things.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was opposite in. Yeah. Just be excited about your book. See, be excited.
Exactly what Sam said. You guys are links.
No, he had a body that many people. Okay, so 2 people who have self-published in the chat, I will ask some of the questions you guys asked us. What is the hardest thing for you? Like, even if you haven't published yet, just in your publishing journey, why are you self-publishing? What do you find the hardest about publishing? And if you're not self-publishing, why are you going the traditional route? So, I've always been good at selling myself out. Work the corner, Sophie, work the corner. Whenever I'm on a stream or something and I pimp out my stuff, my friend will like send me a message that he's just like, pimping it, I see, or you're a really good hoe, and I'm just like, why, thank you.
Yeah, I think the biggest like self promo thing I did was I walked around the town I live in, hanging up flyers of my book, and it was fun. I was with friends, and then this creepy old man came up to me and like tried to talk to me, and it was really creepy. And my friends weren't helping; they were across the street, and there was a bunch of cars, and I just went cool, and then ran away. So yeah.
See you later. Home.
Thanks. Bye. And yeah, I didn't get hit by a car though.
Oh, that's good. OMG, the actual publishing, like dealing with the nuts and bolts of Amazon KDP, draft to draft, Ingram Spark. You already know all my proof now. Yeah, I don't look forward to working with Ingram. I'm really hoping there's an alternative by the time I get to the self-publishing. I mean, I waited 5 years and now there's actual resources. What's another decade?
Part of me also is my parents want me to publish the book before I go to college. because I'm starting college in like 40 something days. But I don't want to rush it because I've been rushing it for the past like 3 years. So I kind of like sat down with my parents yesterday and was like, I understand. I'm not going to sacrifice my college education, which you're paying so much for, because the American college system is broken, for my writing career. I know how to balance, supposedly.
Good. Hey, just admitting that you don't want to rush it again, that's already like huge. So
yeah. So originally I was gonna publish the second book by the end of 2020, but I'm pushing that off. And I'm publishing the first book by the end of republishing the first book by the end of 2020. Sign up for being a beta for me, please.
Oh, send me your beta link. I'll link it in the description after the stream. Awesome. I should have done that last night, but you know everything I'm doing this week. So yes, sign up for her beta link. I will link it in the description down below. I'll also link it in chat as soon as she sends it to me.
I am struggling with technology because apparently I'm an old lady, even though I'm a child.
Just like that guy in your story. I'm self-publishing because
people got that wrong. It was so clear he was a child. Like,
hold on. I'm self-publishing because the publisher said stop calling me, and that sounded like encouragement. I know you. So I know you joke him. That's great though. I'm self-publishing because I'm a control. That's very, very valid. That's part of my poster.
That's my biggest thing. Like, for so long, I felt alone in my publishing journey. Like, I just want help. Like, someone where, like, okay, I'm having a rough day doing the things. I'm going to turn to this person and be like, I'm having a rough day doing the things. And yeah, that's basically what I want out of life. Just kidding, kind of.
Well, that is definitely one of the things that I sought because, like you and Stieg were talking about earlier, we're being the only friend in your writer group that decided to do it as a career. When I decided to launch my platform, I was like, I need professional writer friends as well as my hobby writer friends.
Yeah.
And so I sought out that community as well. So I get where you're coming from. Also, you know, my DMs are always open.
Yeah, that's where I've been going. Sam, things are going wrong. Help, mother of writers.
They will go wrong. It's fine. I'm leaning the traditional route because it's a side thing for extra money to supplement my teacher income. So I want someone else to take care of most of the business stuff. That's very fair.
Yeah.
I can see that. I've self-published twice. The hardest part has to be juggling writing and building at a platform. At the same time, it's great to be excited about my book, but I also feel like part of the gig is also offering something of value to people outside of buy my book.
So now I have a channel and be like, I'm giving you advice I'm probably unqualified to give, but you're still here, so let's go.
The way I approach my videos, the way I approach my videos is I'm just like, hey, so this is my experience, my knowledge. This is how I see it. Agree with me? Cool. Don't agree with me? That's cool too. I can only go off what I know. And I want to connect with people and, you know, talk about similar experiences, especially since there's not a lot of people who talk about parenting while doing all of this. So
it's cool to hear like the different angles, because obviously I am a teenager. And so it's like, that's my angle. And then you have like kind of the opposite where you're a mother. And it's like, here's this angle. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool.
I find some of the best, at least the channels that I really like, throw in that personal thing, or they come at it from the angle of this is that, and they're not trying to pretend to be an authority on the topic or something like that, because those are the ones that I connect to. Because anytime anybody tries to tell me that they are the authority on a topic and that what I know is wrong, I'm like, bet. You won't go. I was like, look, I can discuss differing opinions, but don't tell me that there's only one way.
Yeah, I love the different takes on the same subject. Like Savvy, her thing is like that she's a small business owner and a writer, and like how that affects the thing. And I love the different facets. Is it faucets or facets?
Well, I think it depends on your accent, but I say
coming
facets.
together. Oh, also, I got told by my editor that I spell things the British way, and I don't know why. Because I'm an American, obviously. I've been to London once though for like a layover on the way to Scotland, so
it's stuck in your mind for eternity.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie and I plan to self-publish. Our biggest struggle has been getting the first book done and ready to share with other people besides ourselves. We seem to be stuck in an endless editing loop. Oof.
Ooh.
I had a sentence. Hold on. I'll find it again. Oh yeah, that sounds like pretty rough. At some point, you'll get there. You'll get there.
See, my thing, I have like kind of the opposite of that, where I'm so excited once I write the story to share it with people, because I love sharing my work with people. Like, even if I don't think it's that good, I love people's reactions. I live for them tossing the notebook at my head. It hurts. But I live for that. That's why once I write it and I'm editing it, I'm really motivated to do the editing, because once I'm finished the editing, I get to show it to people.
I have what I refer to as like my alpha critique partner, which is Fox. And basically I write a thing and I'm like, read this in like as soon as you can. And so that kind of helps curb that.
Yeah.
So that and sometimes he'll be like, do you want me to edit this? And I'm like, no, not yet.
No, just read it.
I just need you to read it.
Sometimes, oops, sorry.
I'm going to self-publish, and my main goal is to just sell one book. Currently, I'm in between my second and third draft, still figuring out how to work with CPs. I'm very new. Hey, everybody started somewhere. Sell one book, pretty good. Go. And my comments refreshed. So, there we are. I'm self-publishing because I'm going to illustrate my book, and I don't think a publishing house would let me do that. I don't know that much about publishing houses, but I'm here for that.
Do you know a big struggle that just popped into my mind? Formatting.
Hold on. Follow Sophie's Instagram. Her art is amazing.
So cool. So awesome.
So Vellum is a really good program on Mac that Jenna did a video on that I am in love with and now may buy a Mac someday so that I can have Vellum if they don't like do a Windows.
Has a Mac in his room. I will steal it.
Do it.
But so, it's like formatting.
Jenna's video. I said, so get Vellum and watch Jenna's video.
I probably have already watched it, but just didn't process. This is what I do when I'm like cleaning my room. I play people's like I have an author to playlist, and I
do the same thing sometimes.
Because like I can quote some of the lines like from certain videos. Well, I'll be like doo-doo-doo. Like I know I've been listening to the playlist for too long when it's like advice, and I'll be like say the joke as the speaker says the joke. I'm like, okay, I need to stop. Like now.
My self-publishing, I love being my own boss. Awesome. And then there's the link. I'm self-publishing mostly because 1, I'm a control freak, and 2, I realized I could make more money this way. Yes, get it.
See, every time someone mentions money, it's money, money, money. Must be money in a rich man's world.
I get that Todrick Hall song stuck in my head, which is shit. I'm trying to remember the. It's. I'll remember it later. I'm self-publishing because I also am a control freak. Yeah, that's where I've been going.
See, the flipped screen is really messing me up with trying to point to stuff. Because I go like this, and I'll be like, nope. So it's no, there.
I am only pointing to you because you're on the side with my
cats.
Cat tree.
Yes, I am the cats.
I'm glad you self-published, Jenna. I'd much rather give my money to a good author than a publisher than stumble. Did I send you the pre-order link for the Save Your Sister Ninja? I'm pretty sure I did. But
guys,
he's actually one of my friends.
Sister, it's so good. Just like the teaser chapters, that's all I've read.
There's pre-order giveaway too. But I got 4 or 5 of my friends to read The Savior's Champion because I was like, y'all, this is the best fantasy book I've read in forever. And they were like, okay. And then they're like, damn, this book is good. And I'm like, isn't it? Yeah. My angle is professional hot mess.
I love that. That is great. What do you do? I wasn't paying attention.
We request context on occasion. Writing with Jenna Morassi, if I saw TSD/TSS on a shelf of mixed books, I'd never be able to tell they're indie. Top-notch quality. Ah, yeah.
The covers are beautiful.
Then there's me in the street team like anyone see writes. She does. I've read part of the 3rd book that I was not about to get in trouble and name drop. Not me.
I probably would have had a breakdown if you did that. Spoilers.
No, my loyalty to friends would never let me get past the first letter, so we're good. The video comes out on Wednesday, I'm sorry, Jenna, it's not out yet. Everybody, it's coming out Wednesday.
Wednesday.
That's not bad. I apologize. Woohoo! Yes, good. TSC is incredible. Jenna's given us hearts. I'm a hobbyist writer and more of a reader. I enjoy writing my own stories, and I love the craft of writing. Maybe I'll publish one day, but I mostly want to enjoy the craft of writing. Awesome. My only gripe was the audio book because I make voices for people. Well, sir, I can't help that. I love the audio book.
My characters do not have voices. Like obviously they have voices in like the context of writing, but like I don't have an auditory sound.
So I do. I'm extremely audio oriented in my head, which is funny because my best friend, who's really visually oriented in his head, can't, like, he says after he hears a song, he can't replay it later. And I'm like, I can recall every word. So
I can like visualize, like hear sounds on other stuff. It's just not in my characters for some reason.
Sam, we all know it's the same. I did forget that the community collectively decided it was the Savior's anus. Tobias' sphincter was right. I'm very professional stream I run. Had he eaten too much butter yesterday? I know what TSA means. Snickers elbow cough. The dirty look. As the rumblies began, he knew that well. I have to be careful what I click on now. I don't know where this is going.
Sure.
I can hear a song and music singer, but not a character's voice. Huh.
I can hear an accent, like if a character has a particular accent, I can hear their voice. But like, there's an innkeeper named Albert in my book, and he has a Scottish accent in my mind, even though my book is not set on the world. But he has a Scottish accent, and I can hear his voice. But that is it, because my dad does a Scottish accent for him, and I'm like, that's it.
Aw, I love that.
That is the voice.
I was giggling because I saw this. There's a lot of shit jokes going on now. Alright, so before we wrap up, does anybody else have any questions, concerns, or would like to contribute to the pitfalls of self-publishing before we sign out? Never apologize. I love you.
Twins.
I just don't know if I'll get in a lot of trouble for putting that many shits up on the screen. I'll take y'all's silence as a no. That or we're like lagging again.
It's probably lagging.
I'm me check the
They've gone
live.
silent for too long. Something's happening.
Maybe they've just said all they had to say.
It's like in the horror movie when everything goes silent right before the jump scare. That's this.
There's one more thing that hasn't popped up on the StreamYard yet.
It's a mystery for me, apparently. It just jumped.
Oh, faces, faces. All I'm gonna say. Great stream. I was Mary Kondoing my closet. Well, we are glad to provide entertainment.
Yes. Funny.
Because you had one character that was a true bro. And the book was worth the money just for that. Oh, all I'm going to say is you had one character that was a true bro, and that the book was okay. There were layers to the sentence.
Piecing it together.
All right, so.
It's 10 o'clock where I am.
Yep. Go ahead and outro yourself here. Yes.
Hi, goodbye. I'm CB Ferrenz, teenage young adult fantasy author. I'm re-releasing book Shadows. Right now I'm looking for beta readers. I'm sorry. I glitched.
No, you're fine. The chat updated and I saw Jenna's comments.
I understood that reference.
All right, sorry. Go again.
I'm doing a thing, guys.
Jenna's killing us with her funny.
Okay. My channel documenting the process of the re-release, giving some advice I'm unqualified to give. All the social medias are CB Ferrenz, that's with 2 R's and ENZ.
They are
also because preparation. Yeah, that is my thing. Sam.
I'm Samantha L. I am writer mom Samantha L. Nasset. This is my channel where I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer parent things. I also host live streams on Mondays, such as this one. Sometimes I do write-ins. Let's Talk's our new thing, but they've been fun so far. Thank you all for joining. Hope you had a great time. We had a great time.
Definitely. Face hurts when smiling.
The ghost of Audra is reminding me in the back of my head that if you liked this video, you can show some support by liking it.
If you liked it, you liked it, guys. I liked it beforehand.
Oh, overachiever over here.
Yeah.
If you would like to beta for CB's novel that she is re-debuting, help a girl out, sign up for her through her beta link. I will be adding that as soon as the stream ends.
Yes.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I forgot. Nope. I think that's it.
Cool.
Oh, 2 people watching this on playback. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. All right. So, see ya. Can't find my hair.
So long. Farewell. Blah, 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 blah.